The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by the SGPN app. The SGPN app is completely free to download and home of all of your favorite SGPN podcasts, contests, and picks. Just type SGPN into the App Store today to download America's #1 DGen app. Yes, sir. Welcome back to the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no the voice, no the guy. It's me, really real. Villain Row, Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. Part of me wants to play that drop. The other part of me wants to play this one.
How about if you sweep it out?
What's the point? I can't do anything right.
You'll do fine.
Hey, pal. You just blowing from stupid town?
Keep trying, Patrick.
Because, man, I'm trying to tell you. It's so frustrating when you have a good day but a bad day. It is so... I would rather just suck and miss everything. I would personally rather suck and miss everything. I hate when I have a good day but a bad day. Because I had a good day last episode. It was a 13-game slate. Favorite number 13, of course, today, December 13th. Shout out to my brother. Happy birthday to my brother. 9-4 ATS on the slate. I discover my next favorite trend, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later. I discovered my next favorite trend that I love for this season. Matter of fact, let's talk about it right now. Because the Portland Trailblazers, you can't give them double digits. They're bad, but they ain't that bad. They are not that bad. You cannot give this Portland team double digits. They are going to compete. At the very least, they're going to compete. Shout out to Anthony Simons. They're getting healthier. Maybe when Malcolm Brogdon and DeAndre Ayton are healthy in the lineup, this could actually be a team where we may interest in taking them in other situations. But double digits, absolutely not. Can't do that. So 9-4 ATS, had a good day. However, of the 4 that I lost my lock and I lost my dog. Don't you hate when that happens? It's terrible. Scott Studio Reichel here with me on NBA Gambling Podcast. Scott, what's going on?
Scotty, beat me up.
Surprise.
Yeah, doing pretty well. Not the best day yesterday, so hopefully we'll get back on track. I'm trying to find the sound effect.
How
There
about
you
if
go.
you sweep it out?
What's the point?
You too?
I can't do anything right.
You'll do fine.
Hey, pal. You just blowing from stupid town?
You want to shot too? I'll take one for you too.
Nah, I'll take one after the show.
It's 5 o'clock
fine.
somewhere.
Yeah, that is true. It's all good. Smoke them if you got them. But anyway, my lock wasn't close. I had the Kings team total against the Clippers. I don't know what that was from the Kings. I mean, scoring 99 points, embarrassing in its own right. My dog, I can't really call a bad beat, but it was unfortunate because I had Jokic triple-double, who was cruising there. I mean, he had 9 rebounds, 6 assists at half. He would have gotten the points, and then he got ejected in the second quarter for basically doing nothing. So I gave out Jokic triple-double as my dog at like plus 145 or 135, and that unfortunately went up in flames. Mostly Sacramento, who no-showed the game against the Clippers, which is pretty rough. But either way, point is, didn't exactly work out. The leans were fine, but kind of same as your boat. Just didn't work out with the lock and dog picks. Kind of a weird day in the NBA in general. So it is what it is, but it happens, and we'll bounce back.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, it's all right. It's all right. You know, today's a better day. Today is a better day. I mean, I guess we could talk about, because I guess it was some news in NBA last night. I guess it was. So you either have Jokic getting an incredibly soft ejection, like an incredibly soft ejection, And then you have, I mean, so that's really nothing new because we just saw that happen with Trey. I think it was Monday that happened with Trey, where Trey got a soft ejection. I don't know what's going on with the refs right now, but ever since everybody brought up Scott Foster and been talking a bunch of shit about Scott Foster, the refs have been like very, very sensitive after that. Like really, like overly sensitive after that. I don't know if they had a group chat and they like, hey, we about to turn this thing upside down or what. But you know what? No, I don't like it. I don't like how soft they being. That's 2 ejections back to back where it was incredibly soft. Like Trey didn't say anything. It didn't look like for real. Jokic really did. Jokic was so bad that the Bulls fans were booing.
Bro, it was Serbian night. It was
Was
Serbian
it really?
night, man. Yeah, like it was the main night that people in Chicago went to see Jokic play, and they threw him out of the game before halftime.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. It was Serbian night.
So, it was Serbian night, or
Yeah.
I don't know if it was unofficially Serbian night, or the point is apparently there was a decent Serbian community in Chicago, and
Really?
they all wanted to see Jokic play, and they got to see a half.
Oh,
So that's
it
how that
is a
worked out.
Serbian community in Chicago because on Power, the Serbs, they was the big drug dealer on Power. Do you watch Power?
There's like 7 spin-off shows of Power. So my
They're
dad
all
actually watches
good.
Power.
They're all good.
But they're all good.
All of them are
Okay.
good. So
I
it
heard the
doesn't even
Tommy
matter.
show about Chicago isn't that great.
Yeah,
But
Focus. So, or is it
Yeah.
Force? No, Force. I said Focus. That's freaking Will Smith. Yes, Force.
that's a
Very
decent movie
good.
too. Shout out to Margot Robbie. Decent movie.
And the Serbs had a big influence there. I wonder, that's probably their cousins. Like that's probably his is it his brothers? His brothers that are the ones that
I think so. I
was
don't follow
terrorizing
that.
everybody.
All I know
I
is
think
that my dad watches Power and some of the spin-off
No, I'm
shows.
talking about Jokic. It's his brothers that are terrorizing everybody.
His brothers are the ones, yeah, were calling out the Morris brothers, and they were like hanging out in Miami all the time.
They're drug dealers.
They might be.
What Drewski be like? What do you mean by that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and.
Well, you mentioned the soft ejection. We got to mention the fair ejection that happened later on in the game.
Oh yeah.
Draymond.
Draymond. Yeah, Draymond. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know, man.
It was a cheap shot. I mean, come on.
But like, why?
Because he's in. I mean, there's a couple reasons for that. I was a
like
big
you
fan
would
of
know.
the Nurkic
He
quotes.
would like. This is the thing that, like, at some of the, I don't know. I really be sitting here trying to be like y'all and say Draymond be doing this on purpose. But like, how stupid could you really be? Like, he literally just punched him. Like, that's where I'm like, it's so crazy that it actually might have been an accident. Because why would you just punch him in the middle of a game like that?
I just think Draymond has a bad case of anger management issues, and we've seen it for years. There's a long list of questionable acts or dirty plays by Draymond, however you want to interpret it. It goes all the way back to him kicking Steven Adams in the nuts in the playoff series back in like 2016. Like, it's been around for a long time. He stomped on Sabonis in the playoffs last year. He choked out Gobert less than a month ago, and then he punches Nurkic in the face.
Well, the choking out of Gobert, I think, was 100%. That he 100% meant to do that.
Oh, it was definitely intentional. I'm just saying that was within the last month. Those 2 incidents.
No, but I'm saying I look at the stomp, and I still think the stomp is just like bodies and all that. But last night, I keep looking at it. I'm like, I mean, you say it's an accident. It doesn't look like an accident, but why would it not be an accident? Because you're clearly not that stupid. Like,
I've seen it in UFC before, so he might have borrowed that from somebody. But I do think when you're looking at Draymond, an issue that you run into for Golden State in general, because most people think he's a dirty player anyway. The issue you run into with Golden State is the fact that his talent is no longer excusing his questionable actions. And now you have to wonder what exactly you do. Because I think we'd agree Draymond, despite how impactful he might still be, he's not the same defensive player he used to be. Offensively, he still can't shoot. That was always an issue that he had, at least for the last 5 years. And Golden State has issues in general because Clay once again was terrible last night. They benched Wiggins because Wiggins was atrocious. Draymond was, kind of ineffective for the most of the season, and he's been suspended. He's been a distraction. It's kind of been a sideshow at this point, and he already got suspended 5 games.
But you know why you have him around? It's not really more of the talent; it's more of the mind. Like, whatever you say, Draymond is probably one of the smartest basketball minds I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like,
that's fair.
For what he knows about the game and how he can attack the game, how he knows how to play people defensively, how he is able to coach up not only his teammates, but just players in general. Like, clearly, you're it's the mind and more of the talent now. Like his body starting to slow, getting a little older, body starting to slow down a little bit more. And that's ultimately like I think Draymond would be a phenomenal coach one day. Just
So the thing is, he has a smart basketball IQ, but you think of all the things that he's done to basically sabotage the Warriors' chance of winning championships, and you realize that his anger management sometimes overrides the basketball IQ. He basically ran KD out of town. He punched LeBron in the nuts in the finals when they were about to win the NBA Finals. He's kind of costing them a couple of rings. I know that they've won a lot with him, and I know that he's been a great impact player because of his defense and his versatility. But for a guy who has a lot of basketball IQ, which I agree with, because I do think that he's a cerebral player, there's a lot of self-destructive tendencies when it comes to Draymond for his entire career at this point. I still remember a couple of years ago when he got into a fight with some college kid when he was already in the NBA. I think it was at Michigan State. And he basically punched somebody in the face. And it just happens that way. Draymond just can't exactly control his emotions. But I guess the question that I want to ask you, one, a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the most, how much trouble is Golden State in general? And two, do you think that Draymond is going to be getting double-digit games for suspension since he just got 5 games less than a month ago? Because I think he is. I think he's getting 15, if I had to guess the number.
A 15-game suspension?
He got 5 already. It's less than a month. You can make an argument that Silver's gonna use him to set an example.
Bro, I don't know, bro. Because at this point, like, I don't know. I think that's 2 completely different situations. Like he intentionally, like you can see intentionally there was a fight going on, and he went and choked somebody out and inserted himself in the fight. Like
it's about reputation, though, because Draymond's been known to do this time and time again.
But what are you setting for everybody else that if you accidentally, like if you suspend Draymond for that last night, if somebody else accidentally hit somebody, you got to suspend them too, regardless of what his track record is. You got to suspend them too if they accidentally hit somebody. So it's like it's a slippery slope, man. I don't know.
It depends how you define accidentally hit somebody.
I think the ejection was I think the ejection was punishment enough. I think anything else is double jeopardy.
Personally, I'd give him 10 to 15, but we'll see what happens. He's going to get suspended. There's no chance he doesn't get suspended because of his history. He's going to get suspended. The question is how long he's going to get suspended for. If there was a longer gap between the Gobert play and this play, even if you want to talk about games played, the Sabonis play last year, he's had a lot of dirty plays recently, and it does feel like the actual quantity is increasing. The older Draymond's getting, maybe just frustration the team's not very good. I think he's getting suspended guaranteed. The question is how many games. I think based on the history that he's had, 10 to 15. That's my guess.
I don't know. I don't think that. Maybe it's because I'm not. Everybody like that's clearly not accidental. I think it's because I'm not soft. So if I'm playing a contact sport and I get hit, I'm not expecting somebody to get ejected. Like I'm
not expecting somebody to spin around and punch me in the face. Like
but it's also a contact sport, and people get hit in the face all the time. So it's like I don't know, bro. I think a 10 to 15 games, 10 to 15 games, I think that's kind of soft. I'm not even going to hold you. I think if you give him a little suspicion, like, hey, man, you got to take a couple of days.
Once again, if this was a random guy, we're talking about some random player, Franz Wagner, random player, first player on my head. He's gonna get like 1 or 2 games for this. The fact that Draymond's had this many instances, A, within the last month, B, within the last last couple years.
But I mean, we could go down the list of dirty players that haven't gotten stuff. Like I don't know. I don't really care. It has nothing to do with
how
me.
Many dirty players do you think can match the resume of Draymond? You're going like Lambeer in the 80s. Like Grayson's a somewhat dirty player, but his resume isn't even close to Draymond's. Draymond's up there for being one of the dirtiest players of all time. If you want to just go by
Grayson no, I would 100% say because at the very least, Grayson Allen tries to end careers.
That's fair.
Draymond has never tried to end anybody's career.
The Caruso probably tried to end.
He's tried to end your reproductive. He's tried to end your reproductive organs and make sure you don't have kids. He's never tried to end careers. Grayson Allen is way more of a dirty player because he's actually tried to end people's careers. So
based on the number of dirty plays, I think Draymond's worse than Grayson. But the point is, we're splitting hairs here. I think that Grayson is a dirty player too.
I think it's not. It's not close. Grayson Allen literally tried to end multiple people's careers. But
I care more about guys who stop, punch and stomp on people. But whatever. I think he's going to get suspended, guaranteed.
Like I said, it's just me. And yeah, I mean, I'm just not.
I'm asking you though. So what do you think Adam Silver does?
Punching and fighting is not foreign. So I don't think that it's. I really, really like I really, really don't think is really, really that bad. I think that if anything, like, yes, you can sit here and say he's dirty, but 15 games is a long time of the
Yeah.
season. Like a
He already got
long
5.
time of the
He
season.
got 5
That's
for
ridiculous.
Gobert. That's kind of why I think it's going to be 10.
But that's what
15.
I'm saying. Gobert, he inserted him into a fight. I get that. This is accidentally hitting somebody. Quote unquote, whatever you say, you can look at it and get your own viewpoint of what you say. But this is what he said it was. And ultimately, again, I don't think he's dumb enough to just randomly punch the guy in the middle of a game. But
I think he is. I think that's where we differ. I just think Draymond, you can make an argument of how smart he's a basketball player, but emotionally, his EQ isn't exactly that great. He's been known to short circuit and to be very he has a short fuse. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. I just think Draymond knew Nurkic was there and spun around, and whatever happens, happens. That's kind of how I look at it, and I think he punched him in the face. So
I mean, everybody's going to look at the video and say he punched him in the face. It's easy to look at the video. It looks like he punched him in the face on purpose. I think it's something else.
He grabbed his jersey though with the other hand. Like he knew Nurkic was there. He grabbed his jersey with the other hand. So it wasn't like he was just flailing, not knowing somebody was there.
I was not there. I don't know. I don't know what's in my head. All I'm saying is it's so crazy that there might be some truth to it. Like it might be some truth to it. Either way, he's wild. He's wilding. I admit he's wilding. And he probably shouldn't put himself. It happened. It is what it is. I think Draymond's wilding. I think, it probably get a suspension. But if he doesn't get a suspension and they just let bygones be bygones, they fine him and they make him go to whatever, I would understand that. So I truly don't care. Like, I really don't care about Draymond. I want to get to the picks.
Yeah.
But before we do that,
I just want to ask
no more questions. I got to get this ad read in.
You want to get the ad read in?
Yes,
right,
I have to get the ad read in. So no more questions. Underdog Fantasy. Best way to play your favorite fantasy players outside of Draymond Green is through Underdog Fantasy, NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, college football. Simply just pick higher or lower. And guess what? We're going to give you out an Underdog lineup. Underdog lineup at the end of the show. When we do that, make sure you use that promo code SGPN to get 100% deposit match up to $100. That is Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN. All right. I'm not worried about Golden State. If that's what you're trying to ask, I'm not worried.
That's what I was going to ask. From a scale of 1 to 10, just pick a number.
No, I'm not worried about Golden State. I think Golden State is exactly where they've been for pretty much the whole thing of their run. They're going to the playoffs, and we'll see what they do when they get there. All right, let's worry about this slate that we got to talk about here. And first game up, we have the New Orleans Pelicans on the road going to play the Virginia Wizards.
Yeah, something like that.
7 open up at -7 for the Pelicans. It is now -7.5. 241.5 is the total. That's down 4 points. Injury report for these two teams. And for the New Orleans Pelicans, we have. Oh, wait, that's the wrong team. There we go. Zion Williamson is questionable with an ankle injury. When the hell did that happen? Matt Ryan out, Larry Nance Jr. out, everybody else good to go. For the Wizards, you have Daniel Gafford questionable, Landry Shamet out. That's pretty much all that really matters there. Okay, so we have this Wizards team catching +7.5 on the eve of finding out that they are going to be they're still probably going to be the Washington. They're still going to be the Washington Wizards. They're just going to live in Virginia.
The Virginia Wizards can exist. The Washington Capitals can't because the whole name's based on the actual monuments. So
Virginia Capitals.
But they're called the Capitals because you have main buildings in DC.
Have a capital. Hey, we have a capital too. It may not be as big as that one, but we got one.
Yeah, P4. If you didn't know, they announced they're gonna the Wizards and the Capitals are moving to Northern Virginia, so they're not going to be in DC anymore. But
chat is moving. Chat is having their own discussion about Draymond in the chat.
It's also about the Warriors. I think the Warriors are in trouble, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. It'll be all right. All right.
Pelicans are on the road, but the Wizards are the Wizards. So it's a little bit tougher than it might seem. Obvious choice is the Pelicans just by looking at it, but
this has been a bad round. I'm taking a 7.5. I think the Wizards are due for a win.
Really? You're calling for the outright win?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think the Wizards are due for a win. On the eve of them becoming the VA Wizards, they've lost how many straight. Like nobody talks about the Wizards losing streak because
Or the
there's two
Spurs.
other incredibly
Yeah.
longer losing. Yeah, there's two other incredibly longer losing streaks. So you really don't talk about it. But they've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row now. Haven't gotten
It's
a win.
actually not bad. It feels like 12, but it's only 5. So
Well, I
it's
mean,
not that
you got to remember that they had Detroit in there, so I mean, take away the Detroit win, and you're take away Detroit, and they haven't won since Charlotte on November 8th, so about a month. So, yeah, man, I'm not laying this many points with the Pelicans on the road. They've been a bad road team all year. You look at what they're doing on the road; they're 4-6-1 ATS on the road. And then you had like that was a somewhat emotional game for them. And really not really more for them, but more for one person in Zion Williamson because everybody was literally calling him fat that morning and he dropped 36 that night. I didn't call him fat, but I 100% said that when I don't bet on him, he's going to go out there and have 30. And he did. So it feels like that with Washington, the turmoil that's going on, the fact that you're getting a New Orleans team that kind of coming up on a high, they really dominated a Timberwolves team that's towards the top of the conference. They're smelling themselves. They're starting to feel better. They're going back on the road here after having one game at home. It just kind of feels like a bad spot. Like I know this Wizards team is bad, but the Pelicans, man, I feel like I haven't been on the right side of Pelicans, and everything's telling me to just lay the points with them because this Wizards team sucks. But they just seem like they're just a up and down Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde team where they could actually lose this game to the Wizards. So I'll take 7.5.
I think I'm going to take New Orleans because I think I just made a pact with myself. I can't bet on these atrocious teams. You think like, oh, they're going to figure it out, except the Pistons have lost 20 straight. They're not even close to winning these games. The Spurs are terrible. They might win tonight. We'll talk about it later, but they've also lost like 17 straight. And Wizards have lost 5, and I've watched them play recently. They've not been good. Gafford's been banged up too, so I question how this team's going to handle anybody on the interior because they can't stop the paint anyway, and now Gafford might be out. So if you're going to give Muscala extra minutes, have fun dealing with Valanciunas and Zion coming down the lane. I don't think that's going to be a great time. But I am going to go with New Orleans. It might be a one-off where Zion looked great for a game, immediate motivation. Maybe it's multiple games. Who knows? Maybe Zion's going to go on a bit of a run post-Vegas. We'll see what happens. But it's mostly just not feeling great about putting my money on the Wizards compared to the Pelicans. At least I know what the Pelicans' upside is. When they show up, they can be a top 10 team in the league. When they show up, I know that that's a big if. I get it. But when they show up, there's a ceiling for this team. The Wizards' ceiling is beating the Pistons. Like, this team is insanely bad. At least New Orleans has talent. I'll judge it by the talent. They might score 130 in this game. I like the over, but I do think that the Pelicans, even though I know they're not trustworthy on the road, it's mostly
They're not trustworthy at all.
At home, they've been better.
I mean, they're better. They're better at home. No, they're better at home, but it's just saying, like, it's just not like this isn't a team you trust.
Yeah, it's not a team you trust, but I'm definitely not putting money on the Wizards. I know for a fact not to trust this team. Pelicans
Well,
maybe surprised.
I wouldn't say put money. I just wouldn't bet this game. I wouldn't say put money.
That's
on
fair.
The Wizards either.
I'm saying since we're picking every game,
I'm not taking.
I feel better about having the Pelicans in my pocket than the Wizards. So I'll go with the Pelicans. I like the over in the game. I see a lot of points.
I think this is.
I just don't think the Wizards can stop the paint, especially with Gafford potentially being out. Like, they have serious problems. I also want to give a shout out to the Wizards.
I understand that. I understand all of that of stopping the paint and everything. I just think it's a letdown. That's it. I just think it's a letdown.
Could be. I want to give a shout out to the Wizards, though, for sparing Gafford against Embiid for the third meeting this season by just choosing to not play him. So shout out to them for saving Gafford's confidence in that one. Embiid's still at 34, but Gafford's feelings didn't get hurt. So you had that going for you.
All right. Yeah, Vincey, exactly what I feel the same way as you. Anytime I bat the Pelicans, they flop. And I just felt like if I bat them on the road here, it was a guaranteed Wizards win. So I'm just going to take the Wizards. All right, next game. Any player props? Anything you got?
I mentioned before, I think Zion and Valanciunas have good games because I really don't think the Wizards have any answers in the paint. So I think those are going to be my main two there. For the Wizards, no. I got nothing. Jordan Poole shot attempts. Kuzma maybe has a decent game. If the Wizards keep it close, Kuzma probably shows up and plays well. So I don't mind that. Avdija has been okay lately, so I don't mind maybe his PRA, but that's basically it.
I like the under. I think that Pelicans are gonna not show up offensively, and whether they win or cover, I just think that they're not going to be offensively, and they're probably just going to, lock up the Wizards, and they're not going to be able to score. I think this is a really high total, but I think this is actually another game. Let's see here. Kyle Kuzma actually has some rough games against the Pelicans. Wow. 10, 19, 7, 8, 8. 16.
But he's not going to get discouraged. The man will keep shooting. So,
wow. Actually, his 4 games against the Wizards, 8, 7, 19, 10. On 30%, 46%, 50%, 20. Wow, maybe we need to be on Kuzma unders. They're really whooping his ass. All right. We'll talk about that another time. I had to think about that if I want to really back Kuzma under today. I'm going to have to look into that a little bit more. Philadelphia 76ers are playing the hold that thought. Before I talk about that game, got to get us paid one more time. Talk about Hall of Fame bets, sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Make sure you use that parlay optimizer tool. I used it last night, and I'm telling you, like, the plays that I put in the parlay optimizer tool, it worked. And then I didn't put the Clippers in there because I was fading the Clippers as always. So I didn't need to put the Clippers in there. And the Clippers decided to show up and play basketball for a day. So you know what? Congratulations to them. Very, very good. Very happy for you for being able to get that done. And you know what? That's on me because I added an extra leg to the parlay. You know that last leg you add never hits. Never hits. That last leg never hits. But it's all right because my bankroll builder parlay. Thank you, Hall of Fame bets. Cash that. Make sure you stop betting dark and use the over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame bets. Download the Hall of Fame bets app or visit HOPBets.com. Use code SGPN. Get 50% off your first month today. Start researching. Start winning with Hall of Fame bets. All right, now we're talking about the 76ers on the road going to play the Detroit Pistons, who are on a 20-game losing streak. Open up minus 11 is now minus 12. 233 is the total injury report for these two teams. And we have for the Pistons, Marvin Bagley is out. Duren's still out. And nothing to report for the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, important to preface that this is the start of a 2-game back-to-back set between these two teams. First game is in Detroit. Next game is on Friday in Philadelphia. These two teams matched up earlier this season where the Pistons actually covered at home as an 8.5-point dog. They did not get the win because, of course, did you miss the thing I said about losing 20 straight games? Of course they didn't get the win, but they did get the cover in that first matchup. Scott, I feel like you are fading the Pistons here because they're on a 20-game losing streak.
Yeah, I'm going to fade them until they win a game. Just simple as that. Now, they did cover the first meeting, very misleading. The Sixers are led by 17 with 1:50 to go, and somehow gave up a 9-0 run to end the game. So that's how they didn't.
Is that really misleading?
I think it is. It was an in-season tournament games. They were actually motivated. They just stopped caring in the final minute and change.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It was an in-season tournament game where points matter, and you didn't score in the last minute.
I think it was the first in-season tournament game, so people didn't know that. That was where Embiid tried to sprint up court and chuck a 3, and people like me got mad at him because we didn't understand the point differential aspect of it. But I can't back the Pistons.
They tried to score and still didn't.
At the very, very end, they did. But I think, from what I remember, Tobias Harris kept ball hogging and he kept breaking shots in the final minute and a half. And then
so that's what I was going to point out. That even though Philadelphia won that game and won it convincingly, they actually didn't look that good.
No, they were trailing at halftime.
Tobias Harris didn't shoot the ball that well. Joel Embiid didn't shoot the ball that well. Tyrese Maxey didn't shoot the ball that well. The issue is that, my God, Detroit couldn't stop fouling them. Embiid shot 16 free throws, I think it was, in that game. And I think Maxey shot like 10, something like that. I mean, you can fade Detroit by not fading Detroit. Here's unpopular opinion. I think Detroit wins one of these 2 games. I don't think the 76ers takes this team serious for 2 straight games, back to back. I really don't. I think that they win one of these games. I don't know which one, and that's what makes me concerned because Philadelphia's a good road team. Well, they're good.
This would probably be the one, right? I mean, they're in Detroit. Their odds are probably a lot better winning in Detroit than Philly. right?
Yeah,
Unless
no,
your
it's
argument is they
definitely.
get buried tonight and then they bounce back
But
when
so
the league
that's what I
overlaps.
was thinking. If they get buried tonight, how do you take a team serious after you just murdered them and they're on a 21 game win streak and you're at home sleeping in your bed? Like, yes, this is kind of a Detroit promo. I feel like Detroit's gonna win. I don't know. It just feels like there's a gut feeling that they're gonna end this losing streak somehow, some way. They're gonna win one of these two games against one of the better teams in the league, because who else would Detroit win to end a 20 game losing streak, beating one of the better teams in the league? So I I guess I'll take Detroit plus 12, but I mean, it's really just more of less about the talent and more of the 76ers just gonna like, I don't know how anybody is taking Detroit serious. When you see Detroit in the schedule, you're like, oh, we got a day off. Great.
All I know is that, once again, the Pistons are one of the worst teams I've seen in a while. There's a lot of really, really bad teams out there in the league right now, which I've talked about in weeks past. I can't take the Pistons. They're just too bad. Until they win a game or even keep a game close, then,
No, because if they win a game, I'm gonna fade them the next game. So I can't even
no,
wait
yeah,
till
you
they win a
can.
game.
I'm just saying, I just have no faith in
You can't even
I have
wait till
no
they win a
faith in this
game.
Pistons team. I just can't trust them. And you mentioned how they went to the foul line a lot in the first meeting. That's sustainable because the Sixers rank first in free throw attempts per game, and the Pistons are
Mhm,
allowing the second most free throw attempts per game. So I
mhm,
see a lot of fouling happening once again, not to
mhm.
mention the fact that Duran, who got injured in the first meeting midway through, and Bagley are not playing. So they have no front court depth at all. You have James Wiseman for a little bit if you want to count him as a player, and that's it. So Embiid might go for 50. He might go for 40, maybe a triple double. Maybe he gets benched going into the fourth quarter. We'll see what happens. But I do think what happened in that first game with Embiid is sustainable, and he didn't shoot well. So I think that there's a way he can shoot well and go to the line, and maybe he drops 50. But I like the over in the game, and I actually think that Philly team total over is worth a look. It's a high total, but I do think that Detroit has been playing pretty fast recently. In the last, I'm trying to remember the exact number. In the last 5 games, they rank third in pace, and Philly ranks 10th. I might have reversed that, but the point is there is some pace involved, and both teams are willing to go up tempo. At least Detroit more
Mhm.
than they did earlier in the year, especially now that they're not going to be using a real center. They might be using a small ball 4 with Boyan back. They might go more up tempo. I see a lot of possessions. I see a lot of points. I think Philly probably breaks 130. Shout out to them. They scored 146 last game. So I do think that occasionally they play with their foot on the road, but I
Wow.
do think that the Pistons are that bad. I just can't trust this team at all. I'll fade them until they actually win a game. It's a historic losing streak at this point. I got to ride it.
I mean, no, I get it, but like again, it's a losing streak. It's not an ATS streak. They get some of these games ATS, and this is a lot of I don't know. I really question motivation here, and I just think that one Philly should not be trying to. I think if they try to run with this Detroit team, Detroit wants that. Like, I think if you play Detroit out the half court and make them try to play half court sets, then that's where you kind of scroll them. But if they get to just play young, run and gun, like, they'll be okay. I don't know. I know.
That's
I
kind of why I like
understand
the
that I'm
team
in the
total.
minority. I understand I'm in the minority between this 2 game set, but I truly think that Detroit has a chance of winning one of these games by just the sheer disrespect of the fact that they lost 20 games and nobody's going to be taking them serious.
That's fair.
All
I,
right.
I just think it's funny. Kate said the team sucks at like the 10-game mark, and now they're at the 20-game mark, and they still haven't won a game. So, yeah, it's bad.
I'd be interested. And it's Philly understands. Like, Philly understands what it's like to be this Detroit team. They understand. Trust me.
They've been
Trust the
through it.
process. Trust the process. All right. Atlanta Hawks on the road going to play the Toronto Raptors. Raptors are laying -1.5. Actually opened up -2. They are now down to -1.5. 241 is the total there. I don't know why that says 119.5, but that's not where it opened at. 241 is the total. Injury report on these two teams. Let's see. Sebastian said Pistons 20-game win streak on the way. Hey, man, I like the optimism. All right, let's see here. Where is there we go. We have Trae Young, probable with that shoulder that's been giving him problems for his entire career. We have DeAndre Hunter, questionable. AJ Griffin, out. Jalen Johnson, out. And for the Toronto Raptors, we have Otto Porter Jr., questionable. Chris Boucher, questionable. Okay. Almost a
We
pick
don't
'em.
trust. We don't
Minus
trust
1.5.
either of these teams. So
Yeah, Toronto really pissed me
really,
off losing to the Knicks like that.
it was a short-handed Knicks team too. They were missing some guys.
Yeah, man. Okay. We have Atlanta, who's 4-8 ATS on the road, 5-16 ATS for the season. I don't know why I actually find spots in my convince myself that Atlanta is a team to take in multiple spots, but they're just not.
5-16 is disgusting. Wait, 5-16 or 5-17? Because they played
Would you?
22 games.
Because I don't think you know the answer, so I'm going to ask you: who do you think has a better ATS record, the Pistons or the Hawks?
I think it's the Pistons because they're getting that many points. I'm gonna guess it's the Pistons. Hawks are usually
Yeah.
lying.
Pistons have 8 ATS wins.
Okay.
So
Does that mean you're taking
it's not even
Toronto?
close.
Or no, because they screwed you over last game.
No, I'm still taking Toronto. I'm kind of pissed, but I'm still taking Toronto. I mean, come on, like the Hawks. It's not my fault that the Hawks are bad at home too. We always fade the Hawks on the road, and so that's not changing. But like, it's not my fault that they just so happen to be bad at home too. So we got to fade them regardless. But I can't find ways to take this Hawks team anymore, man. I was doing it at the beginning of the season because I was kind of with Munaf, and like the Hawks had potential of being a good team with Quinn Snyder, but it's not there, man. Especially, they were getting good play out of Jalen Johnson, and now Jalen Johnson's out. Like,
I think AJ.
you had a
Griffin's
random.
He's injured too.
You had a random 40 piece from Bogdanovich off the bench, and you still didn't get it done. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, man. I'm really out on this Hawks team. I think I'm just out on them as a whole. I'd rather take Toronto because at the very least, Toronto's scrappy. They have a great home court environment. I actually like the players on Toronto. I don't think that they're out here changing the world. They're world beaters or anything. But yeah, just give me Toronto here. They'll get it done.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting matchup because Toronto once again has versatility when it comes to Barnes and Siakam, who can give matchup problems to this team in particular. The problem is with Toronto, I don't know if they have enough good shot creators. And I do think that Atlanta has that. I still don't think Trey and DeJounte work together at all. I think that trade was a massive waste of time for everyone involved. But they're probably going to separate during the offseason or maybe at the trade deadline. Either way, the point is, I think I'm going to lean Atlanta here. I don't feel great about it, but both teams have lost 4 straight. I'm going to read off the losses. Atlanta's lost to the Bucks, the Nets, the Sixers, and the Nuggets. The Raptors have lost to the Knicks, the Heat, the Hornets, and a shorthanded Knicks team.
Okay.
The
Because I knew you were going to do that.
Hawks
Wait. Because I knew you were going to do that. So let's talk about the win before those 4-game losing streaks.
Okay.
The Atlanta beat San Antonio on the road as a 6.5-point favorite by 2.
Yeah.
And gave up 135 points.
They were
whereas
down in a lot
Toronto
of games.
beat the Suns at home, catching 3.5.
Yeah, I had money on the Suns in that game, so that's why
We did,
I
and we said,
yeah.
and we said that it was a it was a weird line, but Toronto was able to get it done. So we're gonna talk about the losses. Let's talk about the win too. The win,
that's fair, but
5.
I feel like we talked about Toronto in the past of being a team that gets up for good teams and they're just bad against everybody else. They're a team that just kind of finds ways to be competitive against good teams, but against bad teams, they no-show it all the time. I'm going to lean Atlanta. It's not a strong lean. Once again, we think these teams are psycho teams, or we just don't trust them. But I think Atlanta has the better guard play, and I think that's good enough for me, assuming Trey plays in this game. The line, I think, opened up at 3.5. Now it's down to 1.5. I don't feel great about it. I'm not going to put any money on it. I'm going to lean to the over in this game, but I am going to lean to Atlanta. I think Trey finds a way to take control of this game, and I think they win. So I'm going to lean to Atlanta in the spot, but I don't feel great about it any way you want to slice it.
If I could take an under on Trey field goal percentage, I would. I agree with Kaysen. Toronto's very good against point guards, and I think that he's going to be in hell. And if he hits his points prop, it's probably on sheer volume. But yeah, this is the reason I'm taking Toronto. Both of these two teams basically mirror in records: 9-12 for Atlanta, 9-13 for Toronto, 5-16 ATS for Atlanta, 10-11-1 for Toronto. I'm taking Toronto.
Even
Total
straight up,
is set at what?
I'd say even straight up, Atlanta 6-6 on the road, Toronto 6-6 at home. They're basically the same team.
Yeah. Total sitting at 241. I'm assuming this is because Atlanta's coming to town.
To be fair, the Raptors game against the Knicks did land 266. To be fair. But what do you think? I think it's going to be a pace thing. Like, Toronto wants to play somewhat slow. Atlanta wants to play at hyper speed. They're leaning more towards Atlanta's pace. I think I'm going to lean over, but I don't I don't feel great about it, but I like the over more than the side.
I
This is a
think
pure
that
stay away game for me.
I think that was well, the Knicks are giving up 130 to anybody without Mitchell Robinson. So yeah, I'm gonna just go under. Give me the under.
Okay.
All right. Huh. Miami Heat are at home, laying 8.5 to the Charlotte Hornets. Total's at
We've been here
222 and a
before.
half. Total's at 222 and a half. For the Charlotte Hornets, Mark Williams is doubtful. And LaMelo's not playing. For the Miami Heat, Hayward Highsmith is out. Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, both on IR still. I don't think Bam is coming. I feel like somebody told me Bam might be coming back, but I feel like they just made that up. I don't think Bam's coming back.
You never know, especially with Miami of all teams.
Okay. It's been a while, so I'll go ahead and give a Miami update for the people. We have, at this point, Miami Heat as home favorite are 2-5 ATS this season. They are 39, 52-2 since 2021 as home favorites. ATS.
I mean, it's a system play, right? Like we don't have to spend time.
Like it's really nothing to talk about here. And let's just add that not only do we have the line just moved 8, by the way. Just so you know, money's coming in on Miami, and the line just moved 8. Just watched it. But they also, this Charlotte team plays themselves. If we just go off of the Charlotte Hornets this season, Miami has been favored by 6 and been favored by 4.5. They have not covered either one of those games. But they have 2 wins. Congratulations. Charlotte plus 8.5. It's a lock. It's clearly a lock.
I can't really resist it either. I know Charlotte's not a great team based on talent, but Rozier's been very good lately. So shout out to Rozier. He's had some big games. What do you have, like 36 and 13 last time out? It was incredible. But I can't take Miami. Whether they have full strength or not, they are, historically speaking, an auto fade when they're laying a big number at home. This year, any number, because they're 2-5
It's
ATS.
any number. It's whatever the laying points.
For what, like
I've seen Miami lay 1.5 at home and win and not cover.
Yeah, that was against the Lakers, right? I think.
No, it was another one. It was like that happened too, but it was another one where I've seen them lay 1.5 at home, and so it's been
not even a
multiple
1
times
year
I've seen
thing though. We've seen trends that are like a one-off that happens one
No,
year.
so this has been
next year,
going
get rid of it.
on since LeBron left, and
Yeah,
even
this has
when
been a
LeBron was
thing
there,
for a
they
long
still
time.
didn't cover. Even with
Yeah.
like this is all of Eric's posture. He win the game, just win the game. I don't care about looking good, just win the game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Charlotte. I think they find a way to keep it close. Are they going to win? Maybe not, but I think they might be alive too. But 8's massive for this shorthanded Miami team. I'm going to go with Charlotte in this spot. Give me a Rozier masterclass.
Such a lock. Like it's just a blind lock at this point. I can't believe that they gave me 8.5. All right. Totals at 222.5. Let's see. How does Miami blow this today? Is it Charlotte steps up defensively, or do they just let Charlotte do whatever scoring?
Is Charlotte capable of stepping up defensively?
Yeah, I've seen it happen every now and then.
I'm going to lean over. Give me the Rozier masterclass game. So I'm going to lean over in this one. I've just watched Charlotte too many times. They're just a bad defensive team.
Miami's got a bunch of outs too, though. Like, yeah, I actually think I'm kind of leaning to the under. I think I might go.
To be fair, Miami's had some outs for a while, but yes.
Yeah, no, I get it, but I think that and combined but Mark Williams is actually rim protection, but they still got Nick Richards, and so yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with my gut. Give me the under. I felt like I was gonna go over, but my gut's telling me go under. I don't have anything to support that, so don't whatever. All right. Before we move on, because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more games to talk about. Play props, anything
I mentioned Rozier. I think Rozier is a good game. So if you want to take his points, maybe his PA, I don't mind that. I think Caleb Martin rebounds, very sneaky play. He's not officially a starter game in, game out, but you look at Caleb Martin's rebounding number, especially now that Mark Williams will be out, and the fact that Bam's already out, he's been a good rebounder. And to go through his actual rebounding numbers recently, just by game log, the last couple of games for Martin, he had 9 rebounds, 6 rebounds, 12 rebounds. It's the last 3 games. So he's been active on the boards. We saw it in the playoffs last year. Had a bunch of double doubles. I think Martin might be in line for a good game on the glass. So I don't mind PR for Caleb Martin.
All right. Last time we talked about this game, it was me and you. And I said that Miles Bridges was playing really, really good ball. We took the over 20.5. He finished with 18, but he still shot 50% from the field.
Yeah.
Like, get this man some more shot attempts if he's going to be this effective, man.
Him and Rozier are really your own offensive threats. No offense to PJ Washington, but I'm not a big Washington guy anyway. But those are your two best players right now. It's Rozier and it's Bridges. You should probably give them the ball.
And I mean, Hayward, we cannot not talk about Hayward though. Like Hayward's been playing really, really well recently. So like
he's been good, but he's not a high volume shooter. He's kind of like an all around guy on this team.
Yeah, no. And I mean, he's got more with LaMelo out, but you look at Hayward past few games, 17, 24, 27, 17, 22 in the past 5. Pretty good. Pretty good. I didn't even talk about his assist numbers: 7, 4, 4, 3, 6. Like he's playing pretty well. So shout out to Gordon Hayward. It's so funny because I keep looking at this Hornets team and I'm like, why do y'all suck? Like y'all need something. Like you really, really shouldn't suck. You should be bad, but you shouldn't suck. You should be better than this.
I think they're more competitive without LaMelo. It looks like they're more competitive without LaMelo. I don't know if that's a Ewing theory thing or maybe they're just better defensively because LaMelo is a traffic cone. You ever notice that? Charlotte without LaMelo looks surprisingly competitive in a lot of these games.
Yeah, but I think that was also no Bridges. Like there wasn't Bridges for a long time too. I think Bridges and LaMelo in the lineup together, like that's concerning, and that's a team that I wouldn't want to lay a big number with.
My thoughts on LaMelo have been documented. I think that he's a big stats guy. I don't think he contributes much to winning. I've said that before, but it's fine.
All right, we got the Houston Rockets at home welcoming the Memphis Grizzlies. Rockets open up -6.5. I actually saw this line at -5.5 earlier. It's currently sitting at -6. 212.5 is the total. Let's look at the injury report, see if that has anything to do with the up and down with this line. We have for the Grizzlies, Ja's still out. I think, is it next week? Is next week or is it the week after?
Which one?
Next week. Ja will be back next week. So next week, Ja will be back. However, doesn't help them for today. No Marcus Smart, no Luke Kennard.
Game, right? Pacers game is the first game he's supposed to come back.
No, the Pacers game is the first home game. He comes back on that road trip. I can't remember if it's versus I think it's versus the Pelicans. I'm pretty sure it's versus the Pelicans. So he'll be back next Tuesday. All right. Here we go. Oh, wait. Did I say the total? Did I say the injury report? Yeah. Total's at 212.5.
Injury report.
Ja's out. Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, Brandon Clark. Amon Thompson questionable with the illness. Man, that's tough. He came back and you can get sick. Tari Eason questionable. Victor Oladipo still hasn't put the jersey on.
Shout out to Beal, by the way. He put on a jersey yesterday. So Oladipo.
Yes, he did. Bradley Beal has, I think, 3 more times he's been in the jersey than Victor Oladipo this season.
He's more of a real player than Oladipo is. So Oladipo's in his own category.
I'm telling you, he's not putting the jersey on. He's not.
Yeah, he's not going to, but
he's not. All right.
It's Houston at home. So are you stepping in front of them or no?
I mean, they're 3-0-1 as a favorite at home.
They're 9-1 overall at home. So
I mean 2-0-1. I'm sorry, they're 2-1.
Yep.
I want to recognize Memphis that they have been playing better basketball.
Couldn't have played any worse.
They're actually 6-5 on the road. Yes, they couldn't play any worse. They could only go up. But the fact is that they didn't continue playing bad like the Pistons and the Spurs and the Wizards. And they elevated themselves up a little bit more, like the Hornets. Still bad, but not too bad. I really, really want to take Memphis here, but I can't fade Houston at home. I'm taking Houston -6.
I'm with you. I think I'm going to go with the chalk. Houston already played Memphis earlier this season at home, won the game by 20. That was in late November, so about 2-3 weeks ago. But the Rockets are at home are a wagon. On the road, they're not that great, except when they play Denver for some reason. They just own that team. But they're overall very good at home. That's good enough for me. I'm going to take Houston.
Actually, I lied. I'm taking Memphis.
What happened there?
I looked at the betting splits.
Oh, okay.
You want to take a guess at how many people are betting on Houston?
You mean percentage wise?
Yep,
I'm gonna say 70.
90.
90. Okay. And how's the money split?
90. Everybody, they're all the money, all the bets on Houston.
Okay, so this is a contrarian play, basically.
I know it's a reverse line movement play because this line is dropping. It was at 6.5
okay.
before
I
we
didn't know the
started
line was
show.
dropping. Okay.
Yeah. It was. I've seen 5.5s out there. Like it is dropping. I don't know why. And I was concerned on why it was dropping, but like I guess it's because Memphis has been playing better ball, and I admit that. Like they've been playing better ball, but Houston is been a wagon at home. It's very very trickling dilemma, and I'm probably going to end up not betting it. But in the terms, I'm not going to fade that much reverse line movement. Just give me the +6. All right. Any props you like in this one? Can I move on?
Yeah, I think you can move on. Şengün rebounds historically has been terrible against the Grizzlies, so I actually don't mind an
Really?
under on Şengün rebounds. But
Are you
yeah, his
serious?
numbers against the Grizzlies are actually kind of nuts when it comes to this overall number.
Is it because Steven Adams was playing in those games?
Could be. I'm just going to read off the numbers, though. Şengün, in general, by the way, under 10.5 rebounds. He's got under 9 of the last 10, 17 of the last 20, 8 of the last 9 against Memphis, 11 of the last 12 at home, and he's averaging 8 rebounds per game against Memphis over the last 2 seasons. So the trends all support the under. So shout out to Adam Rosenberg for giving me that trend. But Şengün historically has not been good at rebounding, at least based on recent history and against Memphis. So that might be an under worth considering.
Why not? Why not?
It's just random enough to work.
We might have to throw that lower into underdog. We might have to throw that lower into underdog. You know, you always got to have that one play you kind of don't like.
Yeah, the under.
Yeah. So we might have to add that to there. All right. Let's see here. We have the Milwaukee Bucks playing the Indiana Pacers, and which feels like deja vu because I feel like I've seen this game 10 times this season. We have the Bucks open up as a 6-point favorite. They are now -6.5. 258.5 is the total. I can tell you, I've seen this line at 259 because I have a screenshot of showing me the line on FanDuel at 259 from somebody because he was like, this total is hilarious. Shout out Q. He was like, this total is hilarious. And he sent me a screenshot of it saying 259.5. And now it's at
what happened to the game that I love? 259 total. Come on, man. I thought we were playing basketball. Come on, man.
I don't even know what other sport would give you a total this high.
This high? I have no idea.
All right. Jalen Smith, Andrew Nembhard out. Chris Livingston, Jay Crowder out for the Bucks.
Revenge game for Vegas. People don't forget.
Yeah.
It comes down to if you trust.
I have a salty taste. I have a salty taste in my mouth with the Bucks, which tells me I probably should just go ahead and bet Bucks today because I have a salty taste in my mouth about them.
It comes down to trusting the Bucks because this team is. I know that they've been winning games. Have they looked overly impressive? No, not really. Like they've built
9-13 ATS.
Yeah, they're not great. Now the Pacers have won both games against the Bucks, so they have looked pretty sharp. The Pacers still can't guard Zion. I mean, not Zion. Sorry, Giannis. They can't guard Giannis at all. Giannis has been walking into basically averaging 40 against this team. Lillard's been really bad recently, so they need a pretty good game from him. Halliburton, we know, is a machine. They can't guard him. He's just a phenomenal decision maker in general. But I do want to ask you, though, when you have a team that could be motivated after losing to this exact same team last week, and they have an unstoppable player, because Indiana does not have the facilities to guard Giannis. They just can't do it. So does that make you lean Bucks, or do you lean Pacers because they've proven 2 times already they can handle this team?
None of the above. See, you want to know why I'm taking the Bucks today? 1A of why I'm taking the Bucks, because I went all in on the Bucks last show and they flopped, and of course they would only slap me in the face by figuring it out today. 1B, Dame is about to Dame. Hey man. Hey man. Dame knew what he was doing when he woke up this morning. Dame might give him 40 today.
Yeah,
Dame might go
I
for
think
it.
for my opinion on this game, I'm going to lean Milwaukee as well. The main reason is not even because of a Dame revenge game, because Halliburton did his patented celebration in the fourth quarter, but it's the spot itself where Milwaukee is a very good home team. Maybe not ETS, but they're 11
No,
and
they're
2.
not. No, they're not. I was about to say they're not a good
I was
home
going to say
team.
they're
Like,
11 and 2 at home though, and I will point out that the Pacers did win both games. One was in Indiana. That's been a pretty good home court environment this season. The other was in Vegas.
can
So
we
I do
admit
think it
that? Wait, wait,
helps.
wait, wait. Can we admit that we're a gambling show? So, if for you to be a good home team, you have to be good straight up and ATS. Like, it can't be one or the other. I don't care if you're winning games. If you're not covering, when you like, we're 9 times out of 10, we're betting you against the spread. Like, we are degenerate gamblers. I'm not laying -500, -600, -350, -250. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm betting this against the spread. If you're not covering ATS, I don't care.
That's fair. I'm just going to point out Milwaukee on the road overall is 5-5, and at home they're 11 and 2. That's kind of my point. They've looked more comfortable at home. Now I know that the ATS numbers are not that great. Indiana on the road this season has actually been pretty good, as they're 6-3 straight up. I don't have the ATS numbers in front of me, but I'm assuming it's
Five
pretty
and
good.
four.
Yeah,
Five
I'm
and
going to
four.
lean Bucks here. I do think having a spot to get revenge when you're on your home floor, when the first two meetings were in a neutral and in Indiana, should help you out. Dame can't play any worse than he did in the last two games. So I'm hoping he jumps back into not his old form, but at least some decent form. I'm going to lean to Milwaukee, though. If Giannis wants 40, he's getting 40. So I think that's that's a big reason why I do like Milwaukee. I just think that they can get whatever they want under the rim. We saw the Pacers get killed by Giannis. They got killed by AD. They can't guard anybody in the paint. They gave up 123 to Detroit. I see Milwaukee scoring a bunch of points here. I think Indiana's going to as well. But I think Milwaukee might score 135. So I'm going to lean to Milwaukee in this game. Give me the Bucks -6.5.
Let's see. We're better when we pick a winner straight up. I mean, anybody is better when you pick a winner straight up. God, I hate my big -600 money line people that bet -600 money lines. And I don't hate them, but like, yeah, it's easy. Yeah, I was on Indiana in in-season tournament. I thought that they would get the win there. I thought that it was a good underdog spot for them, and I think this is just a good bounce back spot for the Bucks, especially because I went all in on them last time, and they're just going to completely slap me in the face by doing what I thought they do last time this game. But yeah, total. I mean, I don't care. I'm still going over
Over for
because
the
as
joke.
much as you say that Giannis can get whatever he wants when he wants it, the Bucks have like 126 and 128 in 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean, Giannis can get whatever he wants, but clearly everybody on the Pacers can get whatever they want as well. So it just looks weird. It looks weird because it looks weird because it's this high, and maybe there's some type of middle from where it closes at, from where it opened at, because everybody bet it up. I'm just gonna roll with the over.
Yeah, I'm on the over as well. I know that this looks like a scary total. We've seen the Pacers go over this number anyway against the Hawks, for example. There are a lot of high totals that didn't get there at the Pacers in Vegas, which I thought was insane that people were taking because it was a neutral game, random start time. A reminder, this Bucks game in Vegas started at like 2 p.m. local time on a Thursday. It was a very weird scheduling spot by the league for that semifinal matchup. But I think that based on when this game's taking place, normal time, at home, I like the over. Milwaukee might score 135, 140. Indiana might score 135, 140. So I'm going to go with the over in this game. Give me a high-scoring track meet, but I think Milwaukee is probably going to reach 135, if I had to guess. So I'll go with the Bucks to have a massive game. And I don't want to say carry this over the total, but they're going to do their part and then some. So I'll be on the Bucks team total over in the spot.
All right.
Mostly Giannis potentially being the leading scorer tonight. I think he might go for 50 again.
Oh, no, I'm taking Dame leading score for sure.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
I just think it's a free dunk every time Giannis gets the ball, and I don't know what Miles Turner actually does defensively.
I don't know if there's ever such thing as a free three, but pretty sure Dame's going to rain him down today.
Do you want to?
I mean, I would be
Giannis 40, Lillard 30.
So, and this is what I recommend people, because I've been thinking about playing this with Dame, and I think I'm gonna do it today if he starts off slow, because it worked with De'Aaron Fox so well last year, and he won Clutch Player of the Year. We should take who they're talking, whoever NBA chatter, whatever it is talking about is gonna win Clutch Player of the Year, and when they have a bad first half, just take their points over in the second half.
Fox has done it this year too. He's
Yeah.
been a pretty slow starter, and then he ends up with 30. So I've seen that
And
before.
but Dame has done it in Dame's good games too. Like Dame's good
Yeah.
games, he's been slow in the first half. It looks like you're not going to cash the prop. You have no chance. And then he gets to the second half in that fourth quarter and he goes crazy. That's why the other day, when they were playing the Bulls, I was like, oh well, they're still going to come back in the second half because Dame's going to go crazy. He looked ugly in the first half. He's going to go crazy, and it didn't work then. But I just think that is something that we should watch going forward, especially with this Clutch Player of the Year award and the fact that people are motivated to win the award now. And so they're going to try to have better second halves to get that clutch player. I mean, it's something interesting.
LeBron's a good player to do that with too, because he plays 6 minutes in the first quarter. There's a lot of guys who score 20, 30 plus points a game, but the way that they divide up their style of play, they'll have a feel out process, see what the defense is doing early on, and then they'll go crazy scoring wise in the second half. So that has been the case for a lot of players. LeBron's the same kind of guy who dropped 30 something last night, but he tends to take his time, analyze what the defense is going to be. He's patient, then he goes crazy. So yeah, I don't mind that for Lillard in this spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Just food for thought for my, betters, especially when you're not listening to me. Just think about that. Like, hey, who's in it for Clutch Player of the Year? Maybe we should start backing their second half points and getting some easy money there. I'm sorry I didn't mention that sooner, but it just feels like something that we can easily, you don't have to talk about it every episode, but if you do it, you can make a profit.
By the way, updated injury news in a game earlier. Zion is now questionable with an ankle sprain.
Questionable with ankle sprain. Yeah, I said he was questionable.
I just didn't remember that, but
oh yeah. I said he was questionable. Okay. We have the Los Angeles Lakers on a back-to-back -1.5 versus the San Antonio Spurs in San Antonio. 230.5 is the total here. Injury report for these two teams, and we have for the San Antonio Spurs, nothing to report. For LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and LeBron are both uncertain to play the second leg of the back-to-back. So we'll see. And Vanderbilt didn't play last night as well. So he may or may not play tonight.
LeBron was real questionable before he even got to the locker room last night after the game. I was seeing Twitter posts saying he's questionable with a calf injury. The game had just ended. He didn't even get to the locker room. So there's a lot of belief that him and AD might not play because they were in the tournament in Vegas and they didn't take any time off.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, it feels like this team has lost how many in a row? Like, why would you play them during this? But like,
they've lost 17 straight.
If they don't play, is this Spurs team bad? Let's just assume they're not playing, because I think it's very reasonable for them not to play this game. It's not it is on national TV. Okay, so they might play.
It's on NBA TV. It's not the TNT game, but it's still on TV.
Yeah, I mean, it's still technically a nationally televised game.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I mean, I truly do think AD should sit, but
it's such a short number that it's basically telling you, oh, nobody.
It's no fun. This is no fun if the Spurs win this game, because if you want it to be a tout, hey, I predicted the Spurs to end their losing streak, you want to be getting like plus 300, plus 200 something. Yep. Like, this is no fun. Taking the Spurs is no fun here.
I'll tell you right now, if LeBron and AD don't play, just give me the D-Lo points. He's going to shoot the ball 35 times.
No,
just give me the D-Lo points.
Give me Reeves.
Reeves too. Somebody's going to have to shoot on this team. I guess the problem that I have with the Spurs is that this team is so bad that even if the Lakers rely heavily on like Hachimura and D'Angelo Russell and Reeves, are they still good enough to win this game? Maybe. Like, they might still be good enough to win the game, which is where you kind of throw a wrench into some things. But I think I'm going to lean to the Spurs. I don't feel great about it. I can guarantee you right now I'm not going to bet on the Spurs. But if you're going based on where the line is and where I think the injury report's going to finish up, I don't think AD's playing. I don't think LeBron's playing. And I think the Spurs are alive. So I'm going to lean to the Spurs in the spot. Do I feel great about it? Absolutely not. They've lost 17 straight games. But the line is telling to me. And based on what I've seen in the past, this does tell me that this is a spot where the public is being dared to take the Lakers. And it usually comes back to bite the public. So I'm going to lean to the Spurs in the spot.
And Louise, I don't think I said it, but they were Lakers were -6 before it got brought down to -1.5. And so if you got I would 100%, be on the Spurs at that point. But
Yeah.
1.5 is just so why is it? You can't make the Spurs favorite. They lost so many games. I get that, but the Lakers suck without Bron and AD. But the
I think I'm a
Spurs
bigger
suck.
fan of Spurs first half. Because even the last couple of home games, they've actually been decent early in games. The issue is they're a terrible closing team. But they were up by a lot against Chicago. They were up by a decent amount against Atlanta. Choked away those 2 games. I don't mind Spurs first half. We've seen the Lakers be a bad starting team anyway so far this season. They were down, I think it was double digits at the half against the Mavericks last night. They're not a good first half team, first quarter team. I think my favorite play for San Antonio would be a fast start against what should be a shorthanded team, missing their 2 best players. So I like Spurs first half in this one.
Yeah, that's cool. Try to find good ways to play this. How do I want to make it worth my while? Oh yeah, duh. Devin Vassell, 25 and a win, 6-1. Now it's worth my while. That's all I just trying to find a way worth my while to take the Spurs here. I wasn't going to take the Spurs on no -106. They lost 15 games straight, something like that. I'm not going to take that plus 106. I had to make it worth my while. So of course I'm taking Devin Vassell. 25 plus.
A part of me is kind of tempted by a Wemby rebound ladder. He's been really good at rebounding as the starting center of this team.
He has. He's actually shut me up very much as 7-foot people that can't rebound. He's shut me up because he's been really, really good.
Yeah, well, the issue is he was originally playing some weird tweener spot because they had Zach Collins in the lineup, and now they don't. So it seems like they're kind of letting Wemby pad his rebounding numbers. And if AD's not going to play, who's he competing with? Jackson Hayes? Christian Wood? I'll take my chances. I'll take a Wemby 15 plus rebounds in this game. He might go for 20. We'll see what happens, but I think 15 plus is worth a look.
Okay. All right.
Maybe a block party? Blocks
I have
because
Wemby.
the Lakers can't shoot.
I don't have Wemby 15 plus, but I have 14 plus at plus 140, and I have 16 plus at plus 300.
16 plus at 300 is kind of fun, but I think the blocks might be there too because the Lakers, we know, aren't a great jump shooting team. They're going to go to the rim. I think Wemby might punt some shots back.
Yeah, I like it. All right, let's keep going. Are we on? No, 2 more games. I think it's 2 more games. Yeah, 2 more games.
It's our 2
Brooklyn
teams
Nets. Yep, I'll start with your team. Your Brooklyn Nets on the road going to play the Phoenix Suns. Suns are laying 2.5. Open up -5. It's now down 2.5. 227 is the total injury report, and we have for the Brooklyn Nets, Dennis Smith Jr.'s out, Lonnie Walker's out, Ben Simmons out, and for the Suns, Durant did not play the first game of the back-to-back. There's a good chance that he could play in the second one. Beal played in the first game. We'll see if he plays in the second one. And Grayson Allen's unlikely to play. Josh Okogie's unlikely to play. Nazir Little is TBD as well. I mean, I had my mind made up earlier this week when we figured this out. It's all Brooklyn. Got to take Brooklyn.
The concern, though, is that the Nets did get buried by Sacramento. They gave up a franchise record 25 3-pointers for Sacramento. They just couldn't miss a shot all game. It happens.
They were looking ahead. We said, hey, so who was it? Shout out to whoever it was. I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was. And I'm sure that person is going to come out and make themselves known. But we were on the Nets, and they did point out that they were playing the Suns the next game. And I was like, oh, wow. And that kind of changed my handicap because I was like, nah, you're definitely looking ahead to that Suns game. I stuck with my Nets pick, but I was like, hey, man, if the Nets lose and don't cover, that's why, because they're looking ahead to this Suns game. And we're just going to have to hammer the Nets. And so I'm not going to let that loss scare me. I'm not. This is the best ATS team in the league, or one of the best ATS teams in the league. I think they might be the best or second best now that they lost that last one. But even after losing that one, still 16-4-1 ATS. I mean, very, very good ATS team. 6-2 on the road. I love backing this Nets team. So plus 2.5 revenge game for Mikal Bridges, for Cam Johnson, and just this Nets team to feel confident about themselves. The fact that, hey, we're a good team too. I'm all over the Brooklyn Nets here. This is a lot.
I'm going to lean Nets as well. It's a good spot. It's a good spot too because you had a competitive game against Golden State, pretty physical game there. So you had to spend a lot of energy against a team that you kind of hate, and you got that win. It's a good letdown spot for the Suns because they just beat on the Warriors. I know the Warriors aren't a good team this year, but those teams hate each other. I think that's a rivalry win. That's good. there's no rivalry here between the Nets and the Suns, besides Bridges and Johnson wanting to put on a show in their old home arena. So I think the Nets have an emotional edge in this game. I am going to lean to the Nets. I prefer to get more points with the Nets, but 2.5, it is what it is. I don't, that it's illegal for Booker, Durant, and Beal to all play in the same game. So one of them's going to be safe.
I'm almost like, man, I'd be impressed to see Beal play in this back-to-back, but
I'm convinced it's like a Back to the Future thing where if all three of them play, the world's going to explode, and they like have to divide it up because the world can't handle all three of them playing the same game. So one of them's going to be sitting, maybe both, but there's no guarantee Durant's even going to play in this game. So I'm going to go with the Nets in this spot as well. They're a very good ATS team, but the Suns on a back-to-back with some injury concerns or some rest concerns give me some pause. I'll go with the Nets plus the 2.5 and the money line.
All right, let me see here.
I like Mikal points.
Oh, yeah. And I like Cam Johnson threes.
Yeah.
Let me see here. There we go. Breaking news. Yusuf Nurkic is questionable with a facial injury.
Okay, nice. I wonder what happened to him. I wonder what happened.
No idea how he got that.
Yeah.
Right,
Let's go. The ball or something? What happened?
Because we're going way over. All right, last game of the slate. New York Knicks, my New York Knicks, on the road, going to play the Utah Jazz. Knicks are laying 6.5, open up -5.5. 227.5 is total in this one. That's actually down 2 points. And for the New York Knicks, Emmanuel Quickly questionable. Mitchell Robinson is going to be out for extended amount of time. For the Utah Jazz, John Collins questionable, Lauri Markkanen questionable, Walker Kessler questionable. This is actually maybe potentially the healthiest the Jazz.
I was going to say questionable is an upgrade for Lauri. Right?
Yeah, that's an upgrade for Lauri. That's an upgrade for Kessler. Like questionable is pretty good. Not gonna lie, questionable is good. And Jordan Clarkson is on IR with a thigh injury, so he's gonna miss 2 weeks after that MRI revealed a strained right bicep femoris. Somebody with the medical degree tell me what exactly that is in his thigh or hamstring or whatever. I don't know what the heck, where that is actually. All right. Let me tell you this. The New York Knicks, because everybody knows how much I hate my New York Knicks. Like, I truly hate the Knicks. Make sure I got the right number here. Yes. Since 2021, the New York Knicks are 21-8 ATS as a road favorite. That is the best record in the league.
I would never have guessed that, ever.
That is the best record in the league. The Knicks as a road favorite, 21-8. That just tells you how unfair Madison Square Garden fucking is. That's how unfucking fair it is. That they have to wait to go on the road to ball out. Nonetheless, this is a system play. Knicks -6.5 lock.
My favorite play is the over in this game. I think we're going to see eye to eye on this one because as soon as Mitchell Robinson got hurt, I'm like, oh, this team's going to allow about 125 a game. Because we saw them get killed in the in-season tournament against Milwaukee. They came out and Boston shot like 60% from the floor in the first half. That was disgusting. They couldn't stop anybody there. Then they got buried off, at least defensively, by Toronto. They won the game anyway, but they gave up 130 points to Toronto. So in the last 3 games, the Knicks have allowed 146, 133, and 130. Utah can't guard anybody, and Lauri might be returning. I'm on the over in this game. I see a lot of points. I think I'm going to lean to Utah. I don't feel great about it, but I'll say this. If Lauri plays, I'll lean to Utah. Because I kind of throw every stat and every trend out the window when Lauri's actually suiting up for this game because he's been out for about 2 weeks and one of the worst teams in the league when he doesn't play. My favorite play is the over because the Knicks without Robinson cannot guard anybody. So I'm on the over in this game. I think this total's too low.
Yeah, no, I like the over too. I'm with you. Robinson being out, I mean, if you look at what the Knicks are doing in the past 5 games in terms of the points that they're giving up, it's horrendous. So you have 130 to Toronto in a win. You have 133 to Boston in a loss. You have 146 to Milwaukee in a loss.
I just read off the last 3 because Robinson got injured within those 3 games. That's kind of why I stopped at that point.
So
the total's very low for a Knicks team that just had 260 in change against.
I'm just trying to figure out why. I don't know why the total went down. I don't know. I'm still taking the I would take Jazz team total over. Maybe. But like, how did Jazz go over and the Knicks cover? And let's go.
You're going to win, so you might as well just take the full game over because if the
Yeah.
Jazz go over, that means the Knicks are going to go over as well.
Yeah. So, give me the. But I love that. I mean, 21-8 ATS over the past. What is that? 3 seasons. 21-8 ATS is a road favorite. Like, you can't fade that. I don't know how you can fade that. -6.5 for the New York Knicks. All right, lock, dog, and we'll get that underdog lineup in. For my lock, I am
You'll get at sides or props or totals.
looking at sides. Oh, I'm looking at sides. Too many games for me not to take sides. Yeah, we're gonna make it easy. We'll lock up Charlotte plus 8.5. For my dog, I will take. I'm not gonna go for the 25 with Vassell, but I guess beating the Lakers without AD and LeBron would be the perfect way to end a losing streak. So we'll take Vassell 20 in a win for plus 265. That'll be my dog.
All right.
And,
sorry.
No, go ahead. That was it.
Okay. For my lock, the more that I actually think about it, the more I really like the last play, the last game that we talked about.
Oh, I
really
this
like
game.
that over. I like the over in that Knicks Jazz game. I think that line's too low. Once again, the Knicks are handing out 130 like per game for the last 3 games or more. And Utah, the fact that Laurie got upgraded and, it seems like they might be getting some pieces back, some very valuable pieces. And Utah at home has been more competitive than on the road for the last couple of years. They're 7-16 straight up this year, but they're 6-5 at home. But I mean, they gave up 134 to Oklahoma City. They gave up 147 to Dallas. Like, it's disgusting. There's a couple ways to get there. I do think that you're looking at the Knicks, who were a bit shorthanded the last game, but still showed up offensively, and then some, in favor of the over against Toronto. They should be closer to full strength in this one, but with Robinson being out, I do think it's going to affect the rim protection. And Utah, I know for a fact, can't guard a traffic cone. So I'm going to go with the over at 228.5. That line just feels too low to me based on how the Knicks have guarded or how they have not guarded recently, and Utah being potentially back at relatively full strength. Give me the over at 228.5 as my lock. For my dog, I'm going to go back to the player prop that I mentioned before. I threw out the idea of a ladder. I'm going to go with the same exact game that you talked about. You took Vassell. I'm going to look at Wemby. And I want to just wonder
16?
how high I
Take
should go
16.
with the rebounds.
Take 16. Take 16.
16, you said.
Don't be scary at the plus 140.
I'm saying
Take
you said
16.
4-1?
Oh, 3-1.
It was 3-1. Okay, so at 3-1, I'm going to pass because I found 15 plus at plus 250 on DraftKings. I'm going to take that instead. So give me Victor 15 plus rebounds at plus 250 as my dog.
All right. I made a parlay because I got frustrated at me losing my lock and dog last time and hitting almost everything else. So I made a parlay of the bets that I didn't take. So Knicks -6.5, Brooklyn Nets on the money line, Milwaukee -6.5, and the over in the Pistons and 76ers game. Fast pace, Pistons suck. 76ers might not care. Felt good to take over there. 14-1, Scott. Those 4 picks.
It's not bad. 14-1's not bad.
No, not bad at all. So Brooklyn Nets money line, New York Knicks -6.5, Milwaukee Bucks -6.5, and the over 233 in the Pistons and 76ers game. All right, underdog. Şengün lower. Let's just go ahead and toss that in
Is
there.
that 10 or 10.5?
I will tell you as soon as I type his name into the very convenient search bar that Underdog has for your pleasure. It's at 10. Lower.
You want Wemby higher? At like 11.5?
Yeah, we can do that. Oh, wait, I typed in higher and not Wemby. My bad. It's at 12.
Okay, thoughts? I mean, the last 2 games, he had 20 and 18. Those are rebounds, by the way. I didn't mean 20 points. He had 20 rebounds and 18 rebounds in his last 2 games.
Yeah, this Lakers team is bad enough that they could miss a bunch of shots and he could just
even if LeBron plays, if AD doesn't play, like the backup options are just not there. at the center
Not even
spot.
just that. It's just the fact of I think that there's a chance that the Lakers just be breaking a bunch of shots, man. Like break.
The Spurs have entered the course of the season where they're not trying to win, but they really want Wemby to pad his Rookie of the Year case. So they're trying to get him all the double-doubles imaginable. That's what it looks like to me.
I want Bridges, man. I mean,
Okay.
Miles. I want Miles Bridges, man. He's playing so good, man. He just needs more volume. 19.5.
Sure. If we think they keep it close, then that means that Rozier and or Bridges, probably both, have big games. So I don't mind that at 19.5.
All right, so we have Alper Sengun lower, 10 rebounds. Victor Wembanyama higher, 12 rebounds. And Miles Bridges higher, 19.5 points. Third and an underdog, 6-1. $100 gets you $600. Make sure you use that promo code SGPN. All new customers get a first deposit match up to $100. Make sure you use that promo code SGPN. Dr. Wayne Baller leaving us with a Halliburton triple-double tonight. He said it's a $200 play for him. Jesus Christ, you're going to be swimming in cash. That hits. All right. Scott, anything else for people before we get up out of here?
No, not really. Looking forward to the games tonight. Let's make some money.
All right. And let's see. I have nothing else to say. Nothing else to do. No, wait. 52 people in the stream. Make sure you like the video. Y'all make sure you like the video on the way out. 53. Make sure you like the video on the way out. And for everybody listening to the podcast, wherever you get your podcast, make sure you leave us a 5-star rating and review in your podcast app. Other than that, I have nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast, just ending like this. We are out of here.